Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Dark Side of the Word. My name is Kait, and I'm here with my co-host CJ.
Hey, everybody.
And this week, we're hosting book club. Yay! Woo! We're excited. It's the last book club for us for the year. Just to remind everyone, we will resume our episodes January 4th of next year. We're taking the month of December off just to relax, enjoy some other reading. I think I'm going to do romance books just as a break.
I think I am too. I have a lot of rom-coms stacked up already.
I know there's this one going around that everyone's reading. It Happened One Summer, I think is what it is. So I kind of want to
summer?
It Happened One Summer.
As a Christmas book.
Well, it's romance.
Is it a Christmas rom-com?
No.
Oh, I have Christmas rom-coms ready to go.
I did that last year, and it was fine.
Okay.
Which, Merry Little Meet Cute is adorable. If anyone is looking for a Christmas rom-com, it is really funny, and it's good, and it's body positive. And It's essentially about a sex worker who gets hired on into the equivalent of a Lifetime movie role. And her co-star is, like, her number one OnlyFans account. Like, he buys into every level of her, and then when he sees it's her, he's like... my dream come true. So, she's to hide that she's an adult, star. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It is. But it's also really well written and funny. And yeah.
Okay. I will add that to my list. I have this year's list all set, but I will add that to my list for next year.
You'll have to share the list with me. Or save it here.
Yes, I have holiday rom-coms, and then I have Christmas ghost stories as well.
Oh, okay.
Like Victorian ghost stories. Because apparently, like in Victorian times and before that, Christmas was a time to tell ghost stories. Like Christmas Eve was when you told stories, you sat around the fire, and you scared the crap out of each other. So there are a lot of, like the Christmas Carol by Dickens. That's why that's so ghostish, and yet a Christmas story, because that's what you did back in the day.
Huh. Well,
so I will take ghosts any way I can get them.
I'm going to need this list.
Okay. I will share the list.
We will see what my new library is like. So because I'm living with my in-laws for a little bit, I have been gifted with my mother-in-law's library card while I'm there.
Nice.
So I shall see what they have, because I am not, like, buying books. They're going to think I'm weird.
And you'll run out of room.
Yeah. I feel like we're already bringing too much stuff to their house.
Yeah. Borrowing is the way to go.
But we're excited. It is book club time. This month's November, we read Rouge by Mona Awad. And I'm going to warn everyone, as usual, from here on out, there will be spoilers. So if you want to read this book first before you listen, stop now. We are warning you. Otherwise, go listen to one of our other great book club podcasts and come back once you've read Rouge, or don't read Rouge. And listen
just
along.
Listen to us instead.
But you have been warned, and I'm super excited. And we will start out with our typical starting, which is to give our ratings of the book. You first.
I will go first.
Yes.
I give this book a half a star. Can I give it half a star?
Half?
Well, I don't want to give it no stars, because there were few and far things between, but there were a couple things that I appreciated about this book. But most of it was a slog. So I'm going to give it a half star.
Is there really half a star? Okay, so to me, 0 stars would be you didn't finish it. That's the equivalent of DNF. That's what I've always rated. Anything I don't finish, movies, TV shows, books, I give it 0. That's my thing. I didn't realize that we could give it half a star.
You can. You can do anything you want. We make the rules. Do you want to give it half a star with me?
I already want to change my I gave it 1 because Goodreads is like 1.
We are not controlled by Goodreads. We make our own reading destiny. If you want to give this crappy book a half a star, you give it a half a star, woman.
Well, technically half a star rounds up to 1 star, so it's still equivalent. So yeah, half a star.
Not in my world, it doesn't. It is a half a star.
Okay.
And be thankful for getting that.
If I was not reading this for a book club, I would have not finished it. However, last time you did not finish a book. You at least didn't hate it as much as you hated this book.
I feel like Ninth House is a 5-star read compared to Rouge. And that is saying a lot, because I really hated Ninth House, but I did not know the depths that my hatred could reach. And we are at new depths right now. I was pulling teeth to read this book to the point that I finished it, 3 hours before we started doing this? Oh my God.
3 hours ago.
Oh my God. At 90 pages, I just looked at the rest of the book. I'm like, how am I going to get through the rest of this book? And I did that at various intervals throughout the book. In order to get through this book, I had to employ the method I used for getting through my college 80-minute classes, where I divide the time, or in this case, pages, into small increments and cross them off as I go through them. So I had like 8 days to finish reading Rouge before we recorded this podcast. So I calculated how many pages I would need to read each day. It was like 25 pages a day. And even reading in that small amount of pages just made me, it was so hard. It was so difficult because I just wanted to throw this book into the garbage.
I actually started this book a week before recording, which is pretty big of me. And yet I still had 90 pages to read today.
That's a lot of pages to slog through at once.
At first I was really excited about the book because it was interesting at the beginning. She's stuck in the bathroom. She's like obsessed with watching this YouTube star, I think is what she was.
Yeah.
She was like a YouTube star, correct? Some sort of YouTube
She was. I believe
person?
She was.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what was my take on it. So you start out this really interesting thing. Her mom falls off the cliff.
Yeah.
Like, you have the unknown happening. All the cracked mirrors, which I don't feel like we ever had the cracked mirrors explained.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that. But that is a good point.
They just disappeared when she went in for the treatment. They all became whole again. But what was with the cracked mirrors?
I don't know. Maybe it's metaphorical.
And then...
like she was broken and then the treatment healed her and made her whole in her mind.
I don't want to go for the metaphorical bullshit. Clearly, you and I didn't get the wink because I was looking at the higher ratings, or at least the top listed ratings. Not like they were top ratings, but I was looking at the top ones listed on Goodreads, and I'm just like, what did people see in this? What's going on here?
I had the same problem with her other book, Bunny. I really wanted to like it. I wanted to love it. And I did really like the beginning of it. But it just petered out for me. And I feel like everything in it just went way over my head. And I feel like with Rouge, I understood what was going on a lot more. I still didn't like it, though. There were a lot of problems with it. We can go into them one by one. But overall, I just feel that Mona Awad is not the author for me.
But I don't understand how she's an author, period.
Well, see, I like her as a writer. I like her writing. Her style doesn't bother me. I think she's actually very good as a writer. It's just that the story she's telling, I don't care for.
The story has nothing to glue it together. It has no point whatsoever. It goes off into this dreamscape, practically, with no point. And we're just rehashing the same old mother-daughter fucking drama that I'm just so over it. Can I have a book where the mother and daughter love each other?
No, because it doesn't exist.
But seriously,
apparently
it feels like a regurgitated idea. You have the mother who's the famous, like, oh, I'm so cool, I'm French, like, how dare I had to raise this child at such a young age, I'm too beautiful for this. And then the ugly daughter hating her. I've seen this before a million times.
I feel like there's two themes in this book that I have seen before. One is the whole beauty aspect. So as somebody who doesn't wear makeup and somebody who doesn't have a beauty regimen, the whole idea of...
Don't worry, listeners. I've already yelled at her about not wearing sunscreen. Move on.
The whole idea of like being obsessed with like makeup and face creams and weird algae you put on your skin to look young is completely lost on me. So the main premise of this from the get-go just wasn't there for me. So it didn't hold my interest. But it did remind me a lot of a Guillermo del Toro short that I saw on Netflix 2 years ago in his Cabinet of Curiosities about this woman who's very mousy and she's trying to feel as good as her very cosmetically enhanced friends. So she orders this face cream from somebody online or on the TV, and she gets this cream and she starts slathering it on herself and trying to be beautiful and ends up like really hurting her. And her husband's like, why are you doing this? You don't need it, blah, 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 blah. And it's supposed to be like she's sloughing off the old her to emerge as this new beautiful swan. But it's that whole theme of chasing beauty and not realizing that you're good enough in your own right. So I feel like this kind of took a nod from that short, which I think was very cleverly done. The short, I mean, not the book. But I don't know how the short ended because it got too gruesome and I had to stop watching. And the other theme is something I've seen in another book recently by Jennifer McMahon called My Darling Girl, where is it neglectful motherhood, or is she being controlled by a demon? Because that was a theme in that book, where this mother seems awful to her children, but it turns out that she may be trying to keep them away from a demon. And I feel like that's the same thing with Belle's mother, that she wasn't really a negligent mother. She was just trying to keep her from her fate to be a demon, who is also her dad and granddad, which is weird.
Not in Rouge, though. Not the demon.
Yeah, in Rouge.
There's a demon in Rouge?
Oh, okay. We jumped ahead. I think Tom Cruise / Seth is a demon.
Okay, the Tom Cruise of it all.
Let's talk about Tom Cruise, shall we? Because that...
Why? Why Tom Cruise?
What is the Tom Cruise obsession? I do not get it. It's just... I'm sorry, but what editor read all those passages featuring the Tom Cruise closet hour and decided, yep, let's leave all of those in the book when we publish it? I feel like there were only 2 really important scenes. 1, when she first discovers him in the closet, and 2, when he convinces her to poison her mother. All the rest could have been compressed into either of those 2 scenes for a much shorter and probably more entertaining book.
But those are the scenes they wanted to take from her specifically. Because those are the scenes they took from her for the treatment.
But I feel like I get the childhood memories lay the groundwork for the big reveal at the end. But I honestly think that very first encounter with Tom Cruise and the mirror showed how sad and lonely she was as a child. And it was, she was desperate enough to do the roses thing then. And I don't think we need to go into everything else as many times as we did.
So was her mom allergic to roses?
I don't know. Does that happen with roses? Can you break out in a horrible rash from rose powder being mixed into your makeup?
I mean, I've heard people are allergic to the craziest things.
I didn't want to look it up because
I had a friend allergic to the cold, so.
Wow, that's rough. That's rough.
Yeah.
I don't know why that was selected as the way to poison her mother, but it was.
Okay. Yeah, but why Tom Cruise? What obsession do we have? There's enough about Tom Cruise in this world. We had to put a whole book about him. And how does he feel about being in this book as an evil villain?
I wonder if he knows. I wonder if he's ever heard of this book or read it. I doubt he's read it for some reason. Well, I don't know if he reads.
Can this movie can this book ever be made into a movie? Because how did they get Tom Cruise?
Bunny is optioned for film, so this one could be as well.
But how do you get Tom Cruise of it all?
I don't know. I'm not a Tom Cruise fan. I never saw Top Gun, so all that was just wasted on me as well.
Top Gun is so good. It's actually
okay.
Really
well,
good.
I tried watching 20 minutes of it last year. It was horrible, and I fell asleep.
I can sing the theme song. Okay, I'll stop there because I don't.
Okay, that's lovely, but I just couldn't get it. Maybe because I didn't see it back in the 80s when it came out. That's when it came out, the 80s, right?
No. Keep talking. I'm looking this up.
Okay. Well, I didn't see it back then, so I didn't see Tom Cruise when he was devilishly handsome in Risky Business or anything like that. So I don't get the obsession. And apparently Mona Awad had a huge obsession when she was younger growing up with him because he is just everywhere. And it's just so much in this book, and it drove me bonkers. We didn't need to have as many scenes as we did with him. It just was overdoing it.
You're right. Top Gun came out in 1986.
Boom! Yeah.
Okay, so funny thing. I have this very real memory of my dad buying us our first DVD player. And there wasn't a lot of DVD options because he bought it pretty straight away when they came out. Mm-hmm. And the first thing he bought was a 3-movie set of Tom Cruise movies, which included Top Gun, Days of Thunder, and the first Mission Impossible.
Days of Thunder. Days of Thunder.
So okay. Kait religiously rewatched Top Gun quite a bit.
Okay. Well, so did everybody else, and apparently so did Mona Awad, so you're in good company.
But I wouldn't say I actually find him cute at all. He's too short for me. He's really short. Tom Cruise is 5'6", very short. Yeah, he is
Didn't he have to wear heels in movies, hide his heels so he could be tall as or taller than his female counterparts in movies?
What is with the male actors in Hollywood being so short?
You can't have good looks and height, apparently.
I think it's very funny. I've been to a couple museums where they have the costumes. Say, I went to one that was actually Star Wars costumes when it was out here in Seattle. And the Captain Picard costume, I was like, he's that small.
Is he? I didn't even know. I think I knew that. I saw him in person, and he is short. I went to see Waiting for Godot with Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, which was excellent.
Wait, you saw it with them, or?
No, they were in it. Starring.
Tom Cruise is 5'7". We should give him that extra inch.
Okay, we should, because every inch counts when you're a guy. Ba-dum.
And more than one way.
Moving on.
Okay, so you're thinking that the mother hid the mirror because she was having the same experience as her daughter.
Yes, so I think that at first I wasn't sure if the Tom Cruise set thing, if he was a demon or if Belle was just having like a psychological break. And that all these memories that we kept seeing were all just a gigantic psychological break. She could be schizophrenic. But as time went on, and I saw like little hints, like, you know, Tom Cruise didn't like her evil eye bracelet, which is supposed to ward off the devil. And in the beginning, Belle was losing time, which is a traditional part of demon possession. Also being just blackout drunk, but demon possession as well. And then, so I figured he was kind of grooming her to like do something bad as a demon. And then at the end, when we find out that he sired Belle with her mother and then was he sired Belle's mother with the grandmother and then sired Belle with her mother.
Huh?
I believe that's what happened.
So is this Rosemary's Baby after the baby's born?
Maybe. I don't know. So there was grandma.
Wait, when did you get grandmother in all this?
For her at the very end, her grandmother apparently is an awful woman. Okay. And I believe that Tom Cruise, we're just going to call him Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise slept with the grandmother, the vessel, and produced Noelle, who is Belle's mother. And then Tom Cruise wooed Noelle the same way he wooed her mother and made Belle. And then he started in on Belle when she got to a certain age, which is why her mother never wanted her going into her room and looking at the mirror. She was afraid that Belle would find the mirror. And lo and behold, she did. And that's when Tom Cruise started going after Belle, the same way he went after Noelle and Grandmama.
This is too much.
It's fucked up. It's fucked up shit. Incestuous, fucked up shit.
But he wanted to eat her jellyfish at the end.
That sounds so wrong. But yes, he did.
I mean this in a literal sense. There is no innuendo here.
He did want to eat her jellyfish. And I think he so a lot of demons eat souls in order to stay alive and powerful. So I think that's what the jellyfish was their soul. And that's how he stayed powerful. He also could have just been a guy. If this is a supernatural book, I'm going with demon. If it's just a sci-fi type of book, he could just be a science guy who discovered the secret to eternal youth by devouring people's beauty and soul and everything like that, who stays eternally young. Because apparently he looks like Tom Cruise about this whole thing. Like the wooing of Grandma, Mom, and Belle.
So it's not that they die once they eat the jellyfish. It's just that they become like a husk.
I think they die.
She was alive when they pulled her away, I thought, Lake.
Maybe. But she could be a husk. She could be dead. Either way, it's not a happy time.
Okay, so then who is the top hat guy?
The what?
The top hat guy. That he always wore.
Hudson?
Hud Hudson.
Oh my God, that name.
Let's have better names, please.
That name.
The
oh my God.
names in here were horrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, if anybody ever refers to you as daughter of somebody, like daughter of Noelle with a capital D, run. Just fucking run as soon as you can, because that is not going to end well. Okay, back to names. Hud Hudson. I guess he had a place in the novel. I feel like the novel would have been okay without him.
Because what was the point of her dancing with him at the end? Because I guess he was still possessed by... Because he was brainwashed to stop from searching for Belle.
I like that in the end she saved him when he was telling her throughout the book, like, oh, I'm going to save you. I'm here to save you. And she's the one who actually was strong enough to save herself and then save him afterward. So that was a nice little twist on like a fairy tale, I guess.
Okay. All right.
Is my English lit major like analysis. Just I see your eyes closing. Like, I'm just sorry I picked this book and gave CJ a microphone right now.
No, this book was so bad. I don't know how, like, you're just pulling so much out of it. And all I'm sitting here is like, why did I read this stupid shit?
I mean, yes, that too.
I'm still recovering from actually having to read it. And where was the horror aspect in this book? Because if that's claimed horror, then my books can be horror.
So when I started reading this book, so you suggested this book. I did not know what it was about when you told me to read it. You suggested Curse Bread,
we're even.
Yes. But my point is, I did not know what this book was about when you suggested it, because I just knew it was Mona Awad. I read Bunny. I sort of kind of didn't like it. I'm just going to give this one a shot because you wanted to read it. But I didn't know what it was about. I didn't look at the jacket description. I didn't look at the book description. So where was I going with this? I just totally spaced out. What were we talking about?
Don't remember.
You can leave this in. I don't mind. Because again, this is me being me.
I read the synopsis, but what I got out of it was that it was going to be some sort of search for eternal youth that would, take them down this dark path. Nothing like what we read.
Oh, yeah. So I didn't know what the book was about. And about page 100, I was like, what the fuck is this about? So I looked at the jacket description and I was like, a spa that turns deadly? This is the lamest idea for a horror novel I have ever come across. And that just set the tone for the rest of the book, basically.
I heard quite a few comments on Goodreads saying that this should have been a novella.
Yes! I'm glad you brought that up because I completely agree with that. Again, let's cut out most of the Tom Cruise section. And we could have had like 150 fewer pages in this thing and been happier for it.
I do feel that the Tom Cruise childhood scenes and the rest of the book were almost two separate books.
Yeah, I could see that.
And I get really annoyed. I just hate the backstories of childhood like this, where we paint this literary fic. Let's delve into the psychology of people. And this is not why I read books. Mm-hmm. This is not why I'm sitting here to escape the world. I don't want to read about another bad parent and how they fucked up their children.
And I feel like if we wanted to learn more about Belle's life, why did we have to keep reminiscing about her childhood? Why couldn't we explore her character now and learn more about her recent adult life? Maybe show her going to therapy, making real friends. Maybe show even how Tom Cruise demon guy got to her after she escaped her mom's house. I think that some of it was done with the YouTube tutorials that Belle became obsessed with, because it shows what she is obsessed with, and that's why she doesn't have a life and why the spa takes such a hold on her. But it would have been nice to have more of a backstory to her life without involving yet another scene of gazing into Tom Cruise's eyes.
It feels very reminiscent of the Devil book we read.
That's
one of
very
our first
helpful.
books. It was one of the first books where he worked in hell.
Oh, Sign Here.
Sign Here. It's just because there was a lot of reminiscing of the childhood backstory. Okay, Mona. Sorry, not Mona. Belle is in her 40s, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I think she's like 45.
I really also struggled between the comparison of her mom's beauty treatment and her own, because there were all these mentions of it where it's like, did her mom actually do the beauty treatment, but did she not? Did you get that at the beginning? I really found it hard to compare the two, because it almost felt that Belle was the one leading the wave of all the treatments and stuff, and her mom was just either following along behind her or really not doing much. I was struggling with that at the beginning.
So I think that her mom was into all the beauty stuff from the get-go, and Belle kind of took that on as a child, trying to be as beautiful as her mom. And her mom was involved with the Rouge spa place, which is why they were like, oh, daughter of Noelle, please come in. And I think that Noelle was so obsessed with beauty because she was part of that demon cult, and she was spawn of the demon.
But it felt that every time that Noelle saw her daughter doing beauty, she'd always try to tell her to stop. That's where I guess I got confused, because she's like, don't do that, don't do that.
Well, it seems very hypocritical, but I think when we find out at the end that she was just afraid of her daughter falling into the same trap that she did, that her mother also did, that she was just trying to keep her daughter from going anywhere near that lifestyle that could lead toward the spa. And having an affinity for beauty products and obsession with being young would definitely lead her along that path to find Tom Cruise hiding in the closet.
All right.
That's my take.
Now let's go to the shoes of it all. What the hell is with the red shoes? And okay, I got two things from the red shoes. One, I don't remember what the story was called, but I grew up with watching a movie or something about the ballerina with the red shoes. It made her like a
Center stage?
No.
Oh.
No, this is like a fairy tale or something where there's this ballerina who wants to be a prima ballerina, and she's either gifted or finds a pair of these enchanted red ballet shoes, and they like make her like the best dancer. I'm probably butchering the story, I'm just gonna say it, but this is what I remember. And she becomes the best dancer, but then they like control her and make her dance, and they have to like cut her feet off for it to stop.
Oh, that's not the story I was thinking.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I don't remember, but I kept getting reminiscence of that, and then I also the whole time. Okay, so. Are these the same red shoes that she wore in the mirror with Tom Cruise? Or were they a different pair? Because the whole time I was reading sparkly red shoes, all I pictured were the Tom's shoes. The canvas Tom shoes being sparkly. And I just kept reading them and go, are these high heels instead? Not sparkly
now that you
Tom
mention
shoes.
Now that you mention that, I just want to add one thing that's not related to the shoes, but every time they mentioned the twins at the spa and the black veils, all I could think of was the two twins in Twilight that are with the high vampire guy, Dakota Fanning. That's all I pictured the entire time, and it just made me giggle every single time. Okay, back to the shoes. I think they were her mother's shoes because she wore them playing dress up as a child, and I think her mother left them in the closet. So when Belle moved to her mother's house after her mother died, I think she started wearing her mother's shoes, and those are what led her to the spa where her mother was, and then madness ensues.
But why? How are they enchanted? Because they were the mom's shoes, right?
I don't know. I have no idea how that shit works.
I'm trying to look up if I can find this movie about.
I thought it was from that Noel Streatfeild series about shoes, like skating shoes and all that stuff that they talk about in You've Got Mail. But I don't think that childhood book would end with feet getting cut off if it were a Noel Streatfeild book.
Yeah.
So
there's a ballet called The Red Shoes, but I don't know if it's the same.
Sounds like angry ballet.
It was done in the 1940s. It's based on a Hans Christian Andersen tale.
Oh, is it? It sounds very much like The Little Mermaid.
She takes the lead in the ballet, and she and Craster fall in love. She has to choose between love and her career.
Huh.
And then she's lured to dance once more in the red shoes. I don't think that's it. I remember watching this once as a child.
I do not know it. You will have to do a search and then post a link for our listeners so they can have the same childhood experience that you did.
It was very scarring. And I don't think it had any dialogue, which would make sense why it was a ballet if it's based on the ballet. Like they made a movie of the ballet because ballet doesn't really have dialogue. Yeah, anyway. So yeah, the red shoes were interesting. I didn't get them because they kept stopping her.
Yeah.
But then they also would lead her to the house to begin with, which I found very oxymoronic. Like, okay, we're going to lead you to the house, but when you want to go downstairs, we're going to stop you.
The shoes are very confusing. It just kept repeating red shoes, red shoes. I feel like you could have played a very intense drinking game with this book. Like, everybody take a drink anytime you read the words ocean, shoes, eyes, Tom Cruise, red, roses, tentacles. Yeah. And then you could just get blotto on this book with that.
You know, it's a film kid book. There's tentacles, naked women. See, the problem that I have with this book, and I have with so many books, and sometimes I feel stupid in myself for feeling this way about things, but I don't like stories that don't have a purpose to me, that everything is just thrown in to kind of shock and wow. But when you try to review why they exist in a story, there's no plot point, there's no backstory. Like we said, with the Tom Cruise and the mirror stuff, the red shoes, the bracelet made sense, so I don't want to say like that actually made sense to me, and I saw the protection part of it, but just all of it just doesn't, it goes to the absurd.
I got what it was leading up to. I just think it took way too long to get there, and I didn't like a lot of what the author put in. Like Belle as a character, I don't like her. I don't think she has any redeemable qualities, so it was very hard for me to root for her and get invested in her outcome. She's just whiny as fuck.
Yeah.
And I just, I was never the pretty girl either. I was the awkward girl, the girl with Coke bottle glasses, the girl with weird hair who had very pretty friends. So I get it. I understand what it's like to feel unpretty and unpopular and want to be not all of those things. And I think it's a great theme to create a story around, but it just took it to an extreme and dragged it out too long to the point where it just got annoying and lost its potency. And I think that was the problem with me, is that I don't mind the story at the end, but just getting there took so damn long. But why? It needn't have done.
The impact at the end still didn't have enough to justify everything that we went through.
I agree. I ended up liking the ending, but I don't think it was worth slogging through 340 something pages before
69, 369.
69, yeah. Yeah.
Why do I know this? I was counting down. Well, it's just, okay, now we're going to wrap ourselves with jellyfish tentacles and magically be able to swim through water.
Also, she couldn't remember her own name or anything that was going on before she went into the spa. And in the spa, she doesn't even remember how to use actual speech. And then the minute she gets out and is in the ocean free, she remembers everything. She knows her name. She knows Sylvia's name. I'm like, that is very convenient. Did the spell just break once she got out of the spa?
No,
what
I
happened?
think the jellyfish was attached to her heart. It was giving her back her life.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the jellyfish took place where her, like, above her heart, and I think that was the part that made the most sense to me.
And it just completely went over my head like a jellyfish in water. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why. Okay. And then the jellyfish turned into her mom for a second because the jellyfish had absorbed her mom's jellyfish, which was also just disturbing.
Yeah.
It's very.
There was a lot disturbing about this.
But we never talked about the Hud Hudson of it all.
Okay, so what do you want to talk about with Hud Hudson?
What was his point? Was his brother really actually in there?
He might have been. I don't think we ever saw him.
Was he Was he an actual detective trying to figure out what's going on in the house so we could shut it down?
I think he was, because he did show up at the shop when What's-Her-Face was losing her mind that day after her second treatment, and he took her away. And he seemed to be credible as an authority figure. He had a badge. So I think he was on an undercover mission to investigate the spa. But as he mentioned, he also had an affinity for beauty products and aging or anti-aging things. So he kind of got sucked into it along with it.
He was weird.
It was weird.
And the window cleaner dude.
Tad the merman. That was probably my favorite part, when she forgot who they were and just called Tad the merman and the lawyer the goblin. Best part. Going
back to your demon idea, though, that could also lend to, like, her demon mark, I guess, on her forehead.
Yeah, kiss of a demon, mark of a demon.
Yeah,
definitely could. For a while, I was convinced that Tad was an angel who was battling for her soul, but I think I've just been watching too many Supernatural reruns.
That would have been an awesome ending, though. Like, that would have been awesome.
I agree. I agree. It should have been done.
Why couldn't that actually be the truth of it all? Because then when she was saved, he disappeared on her.
Why couldn't this book have been 200 shorter pages? I don't know. We don't know a lot of things about this book.
Horror is its first genre.
Yeah, I know it is.
This is not horror. Sorry. I'm so pissed this is how we're going out this year.
Oh, I didn't think about that. This is our last one.
For the year.
Okay, then I'm going to end, well, not that we're ending this, but I'm going to say some positive things so we have a high note.
Before we go to positive, anything negative else we want to say?
I mean, so much, but I think we've hit upon all the negative things I picked up on.
And anything on a technique sense? Or, I don't know, something that we can give writerly.
Okay, writerly, I already mentioned that an editor should have taken out some of the Tom Cruise stuff.
Make your plot make sense. Stop going absurd, people.
Yeah, so...
I guess people like that,
Again, I feel like this... What'd you say?
I guess people like surreal. That's why they watch 2001 Space Odyssey and...
People love surreal.
The weird... There's this weird... Or... Love something. What's the weird... Wow, my brain is off today. There's that weird horror writer, love something.
Lovecraft,
thank you. That's why they like Lovecraft. which I got roped into watching a movie based on one of his things, and it was the worst like hour and a half of my life. It had Nicolas Cage in it.
Oh, that's a fun time.
Yeah, it was great. So I guess people just like these absurd, weird, surrealist stories, and I am grounded firmly in reality. And so for me, they are not for me. We need to put that as a tag in Goodreads. That's like surrealist needs to be a tag or something to represent stories that go into the absurd like this and make no sense, because I would not read them. That would help me weed them out.
I feel like when I was younger, I always used to look at authors like this and think, oh, I wish I could write in that way, where people are puzzling over my words and trying to figure out what I mean, if there's a hidden meaning there. And it just seems so unattainable, like great writing. And now as I'm older, all I can think is, I am glad I don't write like this, because I don't enjoy reading it. And I want to enjoy the books that I write. So I'm okay writing as me. And I'll leave this type of writing and reading for many other people.
Dude, if you wrote like
this. You're like, if you write like this, you're getting yourself another critique partner.
Yeah. I could not slog through this for you.
Yeah. I feel like so much of the second half of the book was repetitive in topic as well as in words and phrases. You know, you love Tom Cruise's eyes. His name is Seth. Someone looks like they ate a bowl of cherries. Your preferred color palette is red, white, and black. Like, we get it. We get it.
That doesn't make it gothic and horror, though.
Yeah. There's repeating things for emphasis, for motif's sake, and then there's repetition that's just lazy writing. And I feel like the second half of the book with these repeats felt like the latter. Because it just, pick a new word, pick a new color, find something new. It was really great, the first half of the book. Like, one of the things I really loved about this book was, as you said in the beginning, that the way that Awad transported us into this surrealist landscape. Everything felt like a dream, which really brought what was happening to Belle to life. And part of that was the color palette she used of the red, white, and black. It was very stark, it was very harsh, very cold, and it really helped to create that atmosphere of feeling alone. And it was great. And then after a while, it just, again, she just hit it over our heads too much. And it just became boring and annoying. And it lost its potency.
It was so good at the beginning because there was this unknown quality. Like, her mom died, falling to her death off a cliff. Like I said, the mirrors, the funeral. Oh my God, where did all this money issues come from? And why did she sell the store? Why was her mom acting like she didn't have a memory? It was... For the first, I would say, almost 100 pages, I was very hooked on this book. I was, okay, we're going to go somewhere. This is really exciting. Then the shoes lead her to the mansion. And I was like, oh, we got some, like, possessed shoes here. Like, I'm really excited. But then she essentially meets the people in the mansion. And she, especially, like, when she went to her first treatment, and we spent this pages upon pages on her childhood and issues with her mother, I was just like, I'm done. And then she started doing the absurd things of running in to go work at the store and all this stuff. And I was like,
that was the best.
I'm so flippin' bored. And then it just all magically got fixed at the end as well. And that also really, like, Sylvia's now just like, oh, you can buy my stuff. We'll stop buying my sack dresses for you. What? How did Sylvia just do a 180? How?
Because she felt bad for her friend's daughter, who clearly she thinks had a psychotic break.
No.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about good things.
Okay, it's my favorite part of the book, and this is what gets it the half a star, because nothing else is getting at this, is around about 170 pages, I think part 3 kicked in, and that was when it started to pick up. That's when Belle starts forgetting people and events after her first treatment, and I was there for it. It was hilarious. It was just very tongue-in-cheek, very matter-of-fact, the way she's saying things, and then after the next treatment, it continues. You know, her confidential asides to the reader about working in retail, her interactions with Sylvia and Esther at the mother's old store, and the customers she tries to help, and then when she started talking to the mannequins, who she thinks are her sisters, and having them chime in on the conversation with the cop, that was just hilarious. It was greatly needed comic relief, and I appreciated it.
I remember you saying you liked the middle part, and I was like, nope. I hated that even worse. Though, speaking of like all that part, how she kept mixing up the words, I did like that touch. That was
fun. Brilliant. That was really good. I like the kiss kill thing, And then at the end, how somebody says, can you favor me something instead of can you do me a favor? That disintegration of memory showing us instead of telling us that she's losing her memory. That was brilliant. I did like that part too.
Hey, a good thing we can say.
Yay! Maybe 3/4 of a star. Who knows? We're inching toward 1 whole star.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you say anything else good? Because I think I've already run out of all my good things.
Nope, that's it. My notes are done.
That was it?
That's all she wrote.
You made it sound like there was this whole like positive thing you could say.
We touched upon it a bit already about the in the beginning how her use of the color palette was good. The surrealism that she evoked was very helpful, but it petered out in the second half of the book. So,
well, I think that we have a goal for next year, which is to find better horror books.
Yes.
Which I'm just shocked because this book, I remember when it came out and like it was all over the social media, the Goodreads, the everything.
She has a huge following.
Yes.
My friend so I borrowed this book from a friend. I am so grateful I did not buy this book.
Yeah, thank you.
She went to a local talk with the author at a bookstore.
Oh.
And she said that the fans there were rabid for her.
What?
They were just all over. They were so excited. They were talking online and saying like things about Bunny. If you've read Bunny, the characters in it call each other Bunny. So people were calling each other Bunny, and they were all excited for this new book. And I feel like I envy is the new catchphrase for the Mona Awad. Before it was Bunny, and now it's I envy from this book.
What does she have?
But everybody
I need
was
this
obsessed.
spark. I need whatever she has.
I don't know. We're one of like 5 people who don't understand it.
Yeah, because everyone that like people I actually know in person that I follow on Goodreads.
Yeah.
One of them gave this book like 5 stars, and I'm sitting here like, how?
Yeah. I mean, I think in her acknowledgments, I thought I saw that she thanked Margaret Atwood for
she did.
advice.
I know.
Margaret Atwood.
I think
that's huge.
But Margaret Atwood is not my author.
I mean, I don't like Margaret Atwood either, but that is still a huge name, a huge literary name, a literary giant right now. And this is who she runs with?
So
wow, I'm impressed. Again, I must not be getting something. And I'm okay with that, honestly. What are you looking up now?
Sorry, I know. I've been looking up so much. Okay, so
you're very typey this episode.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm looking at Margaret Atwood because I want to get the title correct. So I am forever scarred from Margaret Atwood. There it is. Mm-hmm. But what's the first book, people?
Is it The Handmaid's Tale?
No, I love that book. That's the one exception to the rule. Okay. But I remember like 10 years ago, I want to say, my friend was talking to me about her obsession with Margaret Atwood. Okay. And she had just finished reading the series by her, which is called The Mad Adam, and the first book is Oryx and Crake or something. And she swore I had to read this series. And I have never been so scarred by a series in my life.
Oh my God.
And I did make it through all 3 books, and I just sat here like, what the fuck? You think this book is bad?
Oh, okay.
The thing that sticks out to me, I believe that it's, dude, I'm going to butcher this. I read this so long ago, but it's essentially like the end of the world kind of thing. And they start losing, but it's not in that, don't go there. Oh, it's a love story. The first sentence on Goodreads is it's an unforgettable love story.
There you go.
So I'll read a quick synopsis of it. Mankind is overwhelmed by a plague, struggling to survive. This guy thinks he's the last human, and he's mourning the loss of his best friend Crake and the beautiful and elusive Oryx, whom they both loved. In search of answers, Snowman embarks on a journey with the help of the green-eyed children of Kait through the lush wilderness that's so recently a great city until powerful... Yeah.
That's me snoring because I'm bored.
Would you like to know the thing that stuck out to me? And this is why I'm sorry to my readers
children?
For saying this, but there comes to a point in the series when they're trying to redo mankind or whatever that the woman turned into this creature, and at least 4 people go to have sex with every woman so that they have no claim of who the real father is.
That's dark.
I told you I'm scarred by this book, and the series, and I have no idea. So that's the crowd she's running with.
I mean, Margaret Atwood is not afraid to go there, and apparently Mona Awad is not either. So I'm not a fan of Margaret Atwood. Makes sense that I'm not a fan of Mona Awad either.
Yeah.
But there are people who love them, and that is great because you're never going to appeal to everybody, but you want to appeal to some people, and that's good.
I guess
They've done that.
I beat myself up for not liking the surreal books, and I don't know why. What is wrong with me?
I don't know. I fully admit that I probably am not intelligent enough to get what's actually happening.
See,
so
I don't want to admit that, and it makes me mad.
I am fine with admitting that.
My biggest claim to fame is that I got the Wink and Mother, the movie, which is a great movie.
There
If
you
people
go.
want a surrealist movie that is fucking amazing, Mother, mind blown. Like,
Okay.
it is so good. Got that Wink. So that's my claim to fame, that I can understand it. But you make me sit down and watch 2001 Space Odyssey again, and I'm literally...
Oh, fuck that.
I hate that movie. What's wrong with me? All right, well...
I have no desire to see that movie, and my husband has told me I should not even try to see that movie because I will not make it.
I was forced to watch it, and now it's already being talked about being watched again, and I just sit here like, bye.
Gotta put your foot down.
And I struggled when Barbie was compared to 2001 Space Odyssey, and I was like, no.
Really?
Yeah, the whole opening sequence of Barbie literally is a mimic of 2001 Space Odyssey. Like, it's literally a redo, but instead of monkeys, it's children.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, my husband mentioned that. Okay, yes.
There's
I thought it was really funny, the beginning of Barbie.
You could,
I liked it.
Probably pull up a YouTube video where they play them side by side. It's actually kind of fun to watch. I recommend watching that 2 minutes on YouTube. But that's all you need. Anyway, I think that's good. This is our last episode of the year, friends. Don't forget, we'll be back January 4th. I'm not cutting. I got to get my spiel. Okay. We'll be back January 4th. We will announce January's book on January 1st-ish, around in there. Don't take me by. We're not going to say it in this podcast.
Okay.
So I'll announce it.
I'm a bit disappointed because I'm excited for the next book.
Did we discuss it?
I think we did.
Are we confirming that's the one?
You say it, and then I'll confirm if that's the one.
The Lone Woman?
Yes,
okay,
that one.
So we're going with that. Sorry, listeners. We did not actually confirm this. I just was like, whatever. We'll announce it
I would
later.
like to confirm because I need a good read after Rouge.
You know what? Don't jinx us.
I've heard good things about this one.
I heard good things about Rouge.
But they were from reputable sources. Aha! I thought not.
Okay, so we are reading Lone Woman by Victor Lavallee. And I'll just put that Spanish twist on there. 2 L's now. I can't say llama.
Is it French or is it Spanish?
Well, this book is based in like the Midwest, so I assumed Spanish, Montana.
One cannot assume. Louisiana Purchase. Wasn't that the West?
No, that's the South.
No. Whoops.
She is forced to flee California.
Okay.
I don't know. I see 2 L's. I immediately go with the llama.
All right, you go with that.
Lavallee.
Okay. I'm going with Laval, the French way.
Okay.
We should see who's correct in January.
Yes, exactly.
So we can actually pronounce the name correctly.
Lone Woman, everyone. We are reading Lone Woman in January. We will be back January 4th. Make sure to, if you would like to purchase Lone Woman, use one of our affiliate links in the show notes. It helps us out so we can keep putting out great content for all of y'all. And if you're watching on YouTube, please feel free to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. We're also a podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeart. And yeah, I think that's it, right? Happy New Year!
That's it.
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
New Year!
Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa, right? Happy
holidays.
Happy holidays. Happy New Year. We will see you January 4th, friends. Bye.
Bye.